Hello and welcome to the next episode on SAP UI5 and Fiori training. In the last session, we started with introduction of JavaScript. We have seen how we apply JavaScript. There are three ways to do that: inline, internal, and external. We have started with internal JavaScript and applied a very simple alert statement on our HTML page with internal JavaScript. As you all know, internal JavaScript is definitely disadvantageous because it is applied on element level and you cannot reuse this JavaScript code. And also, if you have multiple lines of code, it becomes very cumbersome and error prone approach to write such a big JavaScript code in a straight line. That's the reason the inline JavaScript is not so entertaining. Hence, we should move to the internal JavaScript. To do that, we switch over to the script tag, and here inside the script tag we are going to write our internal JavaScript. Before we start writing, let's understand the functions in JavaScript because everything will be written inside functions. So there are two types of functions in JavaScript. First is called anonymous function and second is called named function. Anonymous function, a function which has no name. जिसका कोई नाम नहीं वो है anonymous. Anonymous function, a function with no name. Named function, of course, a function with a name. Both works ditto same way. Both can have input output parameters. Both returns precisely one value. But one is without name, one is with name. What is the syntax for unnamed function or anonymous function? It's function, small letter, space, curly braces. You can have parameters, curly braces, and inside this you can write all your coda. Of course, you can have a return statement. Function precisely return one value. This one value could be an array also. It could be a single value also, depending on your need. But precisely one value. Similarly, now comes is the named function. This one is going to be with a name. So I'm going to say function name, my first function. If you notice here, I'm following strict JavaScript naming convention. First letter is capital, small, second consecutive word, first letter is capital. Parameter name, of course, you can have multiple parameters separated by comma, curly braces. And inside this, you can write your coda. Return statement, of course, you return value. That's the syntax of a named function. For now, we will go ahead and use a named function. Later on, I'll also show you using anonymous functions. Let me go back. We're going to create a new named function over here in our script tag. So I'm going to name it as function my first code. That's a named function. If you observe here, parenthesis is used to write all the parameters and curly braces in which you will write all the code. Yeah, all the code. That's the difference between parenthesis and curly braces. Line by line, step by step. Let's write our alert from here. Maja avi gyo. Gonna cut it from there and paste it over here. And what we're gonna do is call this my first code from here. So basically when you click on a button, event will trigger, that will raise an event, will call our function. As a result, an alert will be called. That's the end-to-end flow of calling. Let's execute, come back, reload, click on the button. Maja avigyo. Are you guys clear now? Is there any change in the result for end user? Anyone? Is there any change for end user? No, there is no change for end user. Then why we do that? Best practice, gold standard. Okay, because it's difficult to manage inline JavaScript. We should put reusable JavaScript in the internal JavaScript. Okay, can we return a function to return multiple arrays or multiple parameters? No, we can return one array or one JSON or one value. Now in that array you can have multiple values, but it is only one thing which will go return. Okay, so you can return multiple value throughout an array concept. What is the advantage of named and unnamed function? How do we choose? Please wait, let me reach to that topic, you will know that. Okay, you can call this function multiple times. That's an advantage of an internal function. Now tomorrow I may have another button, and that button can also call click to, can also call my same coda. That's a reusability which it gives you when it comes to the inline JavaScript. Okay, now let's go back and let's achieve. Can we always get rid of a local host? Yes, for now, bear with me. Once we deploy our app to SAP ABAP system, this will go away. Okay, hold on for some more days. We need to bear with it. Okay, so now coming back, that's our code. What else do we want to do? What else? So what we want to now do is, I wanted to show you the concept of asynchronous non-blocking IO, how it works actually. So in JavaScript, we have a function called set timeout. Set timeout is mainly used for the purpose of triggering something again and again. Okay, after a timer, it's actually a timer. So now in this set timeout, we have two arguments. The first argument is a function, and the second argument is the time after which that function should trigger. Okay, so I'm going to come here and write an anonymous function here, and I will put comma, and I will put after 5 seconds. Okay, so this is my set timeout function. This function set timeout, when it is triggered, it will after 5 seconds going to call this function actually. So here I used a unnamed or anonymous function. Is this syntax clear, everyone? Are you all clear what's happening? I'm passing a function inside function. I'm passing function inside function. Yesterday's example, function inside function. I'm going to go out for a family emergency. I am handing over the book to my mom. So when later point of time, which is precisely after X number of seconds, when Rahul is going to come, I will myself be not there. So my mom will be there to hand over the book to the Rahul. Are you guys able to visualize over here? What is this guy called? What is this called? It's an anonymous function. I understand. What is this called? In the language of yesterday's topic, what is this called? Callback function, exactly. So this anonymous function is acting like a callback function. Are you all clear? Set timeout is a predefined function provided by JavaScript. Yes. Now watch out. I will write an alert statement here, or a console statement. Anubhav left town. Console log. Rahul came to collect book. My question to all of you in this context, in a normal programming way, In a normal programming style, what do you feel? What will get printed in console first? If you are working, yes, 5000 is 5000 milliseconds. It's a millisecond time, which means 5 second. Okay, it's a millisecond time. Okay, what do you think in ABAP programming? What will get printed first? In ABAP, if you are an ABAPer, what do you expect to get printed first? System will wait here, correct? System will wait for 5 seconds in ABAP. Until the result comes, it will first print Rahul come back, and then it proceeds, and then it will print Anubhav left town. Are you clear? In ABAP programming or in Java, .NET, Python, any procedural programming, this is how it will behave. But in JavaScript, do you think system is gonna wait for 5 seconds at this point? Do you think system is gonna wait for 5 seconds over here? No, it will not. System will continue with the next statement. It will trigger this. It will complete the first my code. It will complete first my code actually. Later on, after 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, we don't know. Later on, when the response comes back, when the set timeout timer will trigger, what do you think will happen? This is the callback function which we told at the beginning when we were calling the main function. Hey dude, I will not be there. Now my first code function is already completed by this time. He's not there to support you. It's gone. Anubhav is gone out of town. Who's there? Anubhav's mom is there to support you. She is gonna hand over the book. This is the callback function. When I was leaving, when I was leaving, when Anubhav was leaving the town, Anubhav already told Rahul, when you come back, I will not be there. Please collect the book from my mom. My mom is here. I've informed him well before that. Are you guys clear? Now with an example what we saw today, yesterday's class, today we are seeing it a practical example. This single example shows you non-blocking asynchronous IO. Are you guys clear? An anonymous function concept also being used here as a callback function. Okay, let me show you putting a input field here. You will see it will not block me actually. I'll be able to enter data in the input field while that 5 second gets over. Watch out, come back, reload. Don't forget to reload. Press F12. Okay, press F12. Watch out. Now I am able to enter some data. That's good. Now I click. The moment I click, watch out, what will get printed first. I click Anubhav left town, and now I have still control on screen. After 5 seconds, Rahul came back to collect the book. Non-blocking asynchronous input output. Did you saw that while that 5 second was timing out, I was also able to enter the data on the screen. My screen did not get logged. As a user doesn't get logged. It's not blocking the user. That's why it's called non-blocking input output. Asynchronous because this Rahul came back. This function callback function was asynchronously called. It was not waiting there for me to finish the 5 second. Everybody, is this all clear? So this is just an example. Don't go by set timeout. This is just an example. Tomorrow, when you call SAP system, suppose tomorrow in future you are building an app, a Fiori app. This Fury app is calling an SAP ERP system. It could be S4HANA, it could be ECC, it could be any other system. Can you tell me when I send a request to SAP system, can you tell me how much time it will take to get a response back? Can anybody in this room tell me how much time it will take? 10 seconds. Are you fixed, Sarath Kumar? Are you sure? It is 10 seconds always. Are you guaranteeing me that any call, be it any table I call, it will take 10 seconds to respond back the data? Are you guaranteeing that? Some people saying instantaneous, almost. Almost doesn't work that way, right? Depends on different factors like network speed, internet speed, computer speed, server load, data volume, data size, type of query you fired. Depends on hundreds and hundreds of things. You cannot guarantee that it is going to take X second. So what will you do? How will you handle such response back later on? How will you handle that? Can you do synchronous programming in such cases? You cannot. You have to say, hey, SAP server, I am making a request to you. Together with that, I'm telling you this is the callback. Later on, later on, when response comes back, there will be a callback function to support you. This is another example of callback, not just set timeout. Just an example. We'll realize this also later once we reach to the right moment, right time at right dose of antibiotic. I don't want to bombard you with heavy dose of antibiotic for now. Okay. Are you able to visualize the power of asynchronous programming? Non-blocking IO. फिर से करते हैं. Let me show you. I click, you see it called my function. I can change the date. I can edit anything. After 5 seconds, it's going to call my callback function. Awesome. Awesome. What an example of callback function. Here, this anonymous function is pumped as a callback function. Set timeout. Set timeout. Awesome. Let's come back to the next one. So that was a very simple one. We saw more things. JavaScript can do what else? JavaScript can do output. We saw that already. JavaScript can change CSS at runtime. Okay, let's see the second example, CSS at runtime. I'm going to create another button, and before that I'm also going to get our blocks, our those blocks which we created. Let's get those blocks here. I'm going to get my boxes. Let's going to get those boxes actually over here to your JS demo, and we can just reuse the styling. Just use this link tag to get the style out here. Just get that, save this up. We've got the boxes, we got the styling. Look at that. Let's run this. Yeah, nice. We got our boxes, we got a styling. So of course the background color is not there. I'm gonna add also a background color to the body directly in style. Yeah, so this is our setup right now. Let's add also a kind of div element. Yeah, cool. So that's my styling for now, and I have my input fields. That's cool. Now what I want is I want to change all these title background to black in one click. I will click one button and magically it should change the background of all my three boxes on the top. Which is the object which is there for you to get object of DOM elements? Yesterday's class. Which is the object available, ready-made object which can allow you to read the DOM elements at runtime? Yes, document object. Let's come back. We're gonna put here another function, show me magic. Name it as a magic function. I'm gonna go back on the top to my internal JavaScript, and here we're gonna write show me magic function. So let's write a function, show me magic, and now here we're gonna write a magic. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna read all the objects of the title boxes, loop over them one by one, and change within the loop, change background color of all of them one by one. Watch out, guys. How can we do that? Watch out. I'm gonna go back. So what we will be doing is on magic button click, it should happen, but I will show you a preview of this directly in the console because browser understand JavaScript directly. So anybody, what is the identifier of all my box titles? What is the identifier will you use for all three box titles? Which is that which is common between them? Perfect. Meenakshi has got the right answer. It's the box heading which is containing the box titles. Yes, that's what happens when you not practice every day. It's the box heading which is having the common thing, the class thing in common, the family which is in common. So I'm going to go back, press F12, come back here, and now watch out. What I will do is I will say var array of all my boxes. I can say array box titles, any name you can give, document dot get element. What do you think, which of this method you're gonna use? Anybody? What is your developer's mind says? Which of this? Class name wala? Very good answer. And see, it's plural. Get elements, S is there. See, in this S was not there because by ID is unique. It gives you one element. But here, get elements by class name, plural. It is going to give you multiple. When multiple data comes, how JavaScript manage it? Using what JavaScript manage it when multiple data comes? Array. Array. Exactly. Box hyphen heading. Let's look at our box title. Voila. It has got three array elements inside of an array. What is the index of first item? Who will tell me? What is the index of first item? Who will tell me? 0. See 0, 1, 2. You highlight. Can you see on the screen it's highlighting when I'm just focusing here? Can you see it's also showing me on the screen? Can you see it is showing me on the screen? It's highlighting the element which I select. Yeah, you can see better visualization. I will take the first item of this guy 0 e dot style dot background color property equals to black. Voila! My first item color background changed to black. Now I'll do it for second item 0. I'll do for first one, next one. Now I'll do for next one. In real world, sorry, second one 0, 1, 2. 2 is the maximum index. So in real world, will you write this code 3 times? Same code, just the index is changing. If you observe, this code is same. Your just index is changing, nothing else is changing, only this middle part is changing. In real world, will you go and write this like this manually every single time? If you have, imagine if you have 10,000, if you have 10,000 elements like this, will you write this code 10,000 times, same code, just by changing index? No. Exactly. In programming, we have a capability to do looping. In programming world, we can loop things wherein when we loop on the data, it is going to again and again loop over the same thing and keep incrementing the loop. In JavaScript also, it's a programming language, we have a loop. Yeah. So watch out. I will going to loop on my array of boxes. I'm gonna say for I equals to 0. I here is a variable. It's an integer variable where I equals to 0. I is less than my array length. How long you have to loop? As long as array length is there. Okay. Loop, see, it's not less than equal to, it's less than. So as long as you reach to the length of an array, just loop over it. Okay. It's naturally going to loop over till the length. Okay. Now I plus plus curly braces, and inside this you can write the coda to loop over it. So I'm going to say array of box title. Inside this pass index I dot style dot background color is equals to, I'm going to make it pink now. Watch out. So what will happen, this loop will run n number of times as many items are there. Since I'm starting from 0, I am looping till length because index starts with 0. So in first loop pass, value of I is 0. So it will apply the background change on the zeroth element. Next loop pass, I will become plus plus. 1 is getting incremented. So this I become 1. So it will apply on the second element. Next loop pass 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. The loop continues and it is gonna run until it reaches to the end of all the elements because that's the length. Press enter. Voila! When you do things right, output is bound to come. Nobody can stop your output. Not even God can stop your output because you are doing things right. If you want to do same logic with length -1, you can do -1. In that case, you have to say less than equal to, loop until less than equal to. Yes, multiple ways of writing same thing. It's your choice how you want to do it. Let's change it to, let's say, blue. You see, this also works. Everybody, are you clear? You can try out JS code directly in the console. Once you're happy, once you're confident, once you're satisfied, once you feel that this is the right piece of code I wanted, you can actually use it. Now we can just grab this code from here, copy that, bring it on to my button coda. I'm going to do it here. Loop over them, please. Just loop over them. And now I'm going to take this guy out of here. Just gonna come here. Within the loop, change the styling. I'm gonna change it to black. And now I'm going to say read the elements. So var array of boxes equals to document dot get elements by class name box heading. And now let's come back. Same thing will happen with the button click. Actually, what was happening, click on magic and magic happens on the screen. Yeah, magic happens. Now, suppose I do a mistake. I remove this S or I make this element E small. Do you think it is gonna work or not? Do you think it's gonna work or not? No. JavaScript is case sensitive. You violated the naming convention here. Watch out. Who will help you to tell your mistakes? When you do bad things, who will help you? Your best friend is gonna help you. Come back. Let's look at the console. Click on magic. See here. Are you guys understanding how helpful the console is? Everyone, are you clear? When I do a mistake, can you see that any mistake done in JS is actually punished and will be informed by console to you? Yeah. So of course the issue is with this. So that's the catch. Those who come from a web background, you're not used to this case sensitivity. That's why it may be little challenging and frustrating too at the beginning. With that, I'll introduce next Funda Fox to all of you. Very important. At the beginning, things are hard. In the middle, They are messy. And at the end, they are beautiful. Amazing things will happen to you. Understand, this is the rule of learning. No matter what you learn in your life, this is what will apply. Things will be hard at the beginning. You will find, where did I come? What happening to me? Because your mind is not tuned to accept a change. When a change happens, we are not ready to accept it. When lockdown happened, nobody was able to imagine and accept the change, correct? It was so hard to accept it. In the middle of the lockdown, it was messy, all confusion. At the end, trust me, things are going to be beautiful, and that's what exactly will happen. There is no way anybody can learn UI5 without going through these three phases. You have to go through these three phases. Your seniors who have attended my batch has gone through these three phases. I have personally gone through these three pages. It is not possible that you not go through these three phases. It's important to become a champion in UI5 to go through these three phases. I understand when you practice, you will tell me coming back, Anubhav, your output comes amazingly very easy when you show things are very easy. But when I try myself in system, it doesn't work that way, Anubhav. Things, the output doesn't come, Anubhav. It will happen with you. It is part of the game. It's written there. It's part of the game, guys. Things will go wrong. Things will go messy. Things will remain hard for some time. But keep get going. Trust me. Trust me, keep get going. Things will be beautiful at the end. But some of you will give up in the middle. I know. Some of you will give up. And trust me, if you give up, you the regret which you have, it's always better to take the pain of hard work than the pain of regret. Many times you would have started some work in your life, you said, I'll do this, but you gave up in the middle, and it's there in your heart, and you know it, that you still have regret for that thing, right? So many things we did in life. Some of you would have very important thing. Mummy, mujhe ye karna hai. Papa, daddy, I have to do this thing. This is my life. This is what I want. They gave you permission, you gone ahead and did that, you failed. You have that regret in you, and many times you have the regret saying that, oh my god, it's very painful. So it's better to take pain of hard work than the pain of regret, which will remain with you for lifetime. What are you ready to do? Are you ready to take the pain of hard work? Are you ready to take that pain of hard work, or you will take the pain of regret? It's your choice. It's your choice. All right, so that was the code you saw. We did it finally. Now it's time that I'm going to move this code out completely. I just delete this code. Bye bye. Bye bye to this code. I've deleted. And now watch out. I'm going to come back, reload. And we can come back, reload. Now nothing happens. No magic happens. Nothing happens. Yeah. Of course, it won't happen because we deleted the code. Watch out. We're going to separate this code in a different file altogether. Create a new folder, my JS code, or you can say reuse. And now inside this, I can create a new file called demo dot, or I'll say my file dot js. Dot js. What do you think dot js indicates here? What type of file it is? Who will tell me? What does it indicate? What type of file it is? It's a JavaScript file, guys. Perfect answer. It's a JavaScript file. Awesome, guys. Awesome, you guys. It's a JavaScript code. I put our functions over here. Now, do you think if I press the button, it's gonna trigger my magic? Do you think if I press this magic, it's gonna trigger? No. I have the code, Anubhav, but it's not triggering. Anubhav, I put the code, Anubhav, as you showed in the class, but it's not triggering, Anubhav. You have to connect it. Did you connect it with your file? You did not. There is nothing like magic. Now, guys, the good thing is for CSS you use link tag, but for JavaScript you can directly use the script tag itself with src property, and you can say here my file, which is inside a folder. Folder name is reuse. I can say reuse slash my file dot js. Everybody in the room, are you clear how we connect an external JavaScript? This is an external JavaScript. Everybody, are you clear how to connect with external JavaScript? External JavaScript. Is it clear, everybody, how to connect an external JavaScript? Now, this file is actually a library because it has multiple functions inside. We call it as a library. Everyone, are you clear what is a library? It's a collection of functions. It's a collection of functions. You've created a library, a JavaScript library called myfile.js, which has collection of multiple functions. Clear, everyone? Okay, let's move on now. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and just trigger and see, and you see it's working fine because we have now our code being placed. I will also show you one more variety of using loop. So this is one variety of using loop. Let's use another variety. So I'm gonna do this time the box content. On the box content we're gonna do this. So I've got all my box content in an array. Yeah, and I'm gonna loop over this box content. So I can say for each. Okay, that's not correct. There is another syntax for doing loop in JavaScript. Let me go to W3C and check that. For each in JavaScript. So you see here, we have for each, another way of doing looping, just another way. So you see fruits dot for each. And for each, it's calling another function. In that function, we are doing the processing actually. Okay, item and index, we are receiving it here. So this is for each function, which is also can be used for looping. This is another way of doing thing. It's your choice which one you use. I can show you as a trainer multiple ways. Is this confuse you? I will stop teaching these extra variations to you guys. Shall I stop teaching extra variation if this is confusing for you? Shall I stop teaching these things and keep it only one way of doing things? Everybody says no, which means you want me to show you all the different variety of code, variety of variations of doing same thing. Thank you for that. So let's go ahead. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to use my array name box content for each. For each, please call this function. It's going to call this anonymous function here for each element, and in this it's going to receive the item and index. Let me print item and index in a console. I'm going to say item value comma index value. Sorry, concatenate index value. So I'm just printing something in the console. Every box content, when I click on the magic button, the first thing color will change, but the box content I'm looping using this for each. Instead of using for loop with an index of I, I'm using for each. No, I don't care how many items are there. Please loop over each item. Each item will be passed. So this function inside this will be called multiple times as many items you have inside your array. So right now we have 3. So this function will be called 3 times automatically. It's going to print index 0, 1, 2 and the item value also. Watch out, come back, reload, watch out the console. Console is my best friend. Let's call magic, and you see it's giving an error. Box content for each is not a function. Why? Why is it giving me this error? Why? We can debug. How can we debug the JavaScript code? We can debug in the browser. Go to sources tab, come to the reuse, myfile.js, and you can see your code over here. We can set up a breakpoint here. You see, I click on line number 20. We get this nice red color dot as a debugger. I click on the button again and you see it is hitting my debugger. Everybody, are you clear how to debug JavaScript code? Everyone, because now this function is a asynchronous function, it will be treated as asynchronous. I've also set up it inside. I'm going to say F8. So the syntax, the debugging steps are absolutely same like in a BAP. In a BAP you do okay, sorry, it's not like a BAP. You do F10 here, F10 to go one step inside, F11 to go F11 to go okay, F10 is to go one step, but it will not go inside. F11 to go inside that function, and F8 to continue the execution. So I will use here F8, and you see it's not even going inside my callback function. There's something wrong. Let's trigger again, and now I want to investigate the value of box. So you see my box has actually got three items. It has actually got three items. My for each function is though not working. My box is actually got three items correctly, but this for each function it is not able to detect. Why? Do we need something special to be imported to use for each function? Array for each. I'm not sure why it's not working. They are using a separate function altogether outside. I'm using a callback function. I'm using directly anonymous function. Let's give a try with a separate function outside. Let's give a try. I'm gonna come back. We're gonna change this code in a different way, just the way they are showing in the sample. I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna say Anubhav ARR, and I'm gonna say I will declare Anubhav ARR separately as a function. So let me declare Anubhav ARR, and in this I can have item index. So I have now declared it separately, guys. Okay, just the way they are showing in sample, I've declared it a separate function Anubhav ARR, and I'm calling Anubhav ARR here for each. Let's see if this works now. I'm gonna go back, reload my page, go to sources tab. You can see my code is now updated. You see now my code is updated. It has for each Anubhav ARR. And let's set up a breakpoint in Anubhav ARR to see if it is triggering ARR or not. Let's refresh. Magic. It's not triggering. For each is not a function. It's giving an error, which means this function for each, it's not a built-in function. It's not a built-in function. They must be doing something to get that function from outside. And you can also see where all it is supported. Yeah, they must be doing something to get this function out from outside actually. For each function, for each function we use the syntax correctly, but it's not working in my browser. Maybe this is working on a different version of the browser, or maybe they are needing something to be imported. I have to check that offline, but this is another way. Sometime you may see this code, don't get confused. They are just looping over it. Most of the time you'll see this code only whenever they do loop in a real-time project, but some places you may see different variants. There is another variant called $.each, but all of these we will be learning in our next section when we'll teach you reusable JavaScript files. For now I'll comment it out, but don't get confused. The thought is why that while you can do the looping this way, but you can also do the looping this way. Now I may have to investigate why for each is not working. Give me some time. Next class I'll show you what is bare minimum required to make the for each work. Okay. All right, so that was about JavaScript can change CSS at runtime, but what about validation? JavaScript can also validate the data on the fly. Let me show you. I'm going to go back to our HTML. We're going to create here input field and password for label and password. So I'm going to say label, and I'm going to say text. label value with an input field. I'm going to say username. I'm going to say label, password, and I'm going to add a login button. Save this up, and now watch out, we've got a username password with a login button. Let's write on login code in my JS file. And now inside this, I'm going to write to check the value of user ID and password field and validate if it is correct. So what you can do is give an ID to these input fields. So let's give an ID to this guy as pwd password, and let's give an ID for this guy here as usr. So this guy is usr and this guy is pwd. Which API, which method are you going to use to access the object of these input fields? Who will tell me? Yesterday I showed you. Which method will you use? Get element by id in the document. Superb answer, but your answer is incorrect because you're not writing its case sensitive way. Okay, so now I'll come back and I'll say var my object of user field document dot get element. And now see, since it's a .js file, guys observe, since it's a .js file, your web id is ready. Your web id showing you code completion. See here, can you see, this was one question someone was asking me long time back, Anubhav, can I do code completion? See, can you see it's showing you code completion? Why? Because WebID is built for creating JS file. It understands JS files and it shows you code completion. Yeah, this was one question from one of you. Can I reuse code completion? And now you can do that because we created a .js file. Let's pass the element ID here. It's USR, case to case. We got the object of username field. We can see password field, document dot get element by ID. We can pass the password field pwd. We can get both of these objects and we can compare the value. You can write a if condition o user dot value of the input field, it's matching, and the o password dot value of this input field is matching. Then please say that login is successful. So I can say document dot right, I'm changing the whole DOM. I can say login success. And I'll say my username is Anubhav. My password is demo @ hashtag 123 B capital. If this is my username, this is my password, show the user login is successful. It's a typical if condition. But hey, what is this, Anubhav? How come if condition has triple equals to? Guys, what does this mean? We never seen this in normal programming. When we write ABAP or Java, we simply say some value equals to another value too, correct? That's a simple if condition we write. How come we use triple equals to? What does it signifies? So guys, coming to the next funda fox, please remember this is important. In JavaScript, the equals to variable is an assignment operator. It is going to assign the value only. So even you are writing this equals to, do you know what it will do? Do you think it is going to compare? Do you think it is going to compare? No. It is actually going to assign Anubhav to value. Even you writing inside if, it's going to assign the value. It's not going to compare the value because this is treated as an assignment operator. It's not a comparison operator. Okay, it's an assignment operator no matter where you write. whether you're writing even inside if, it will always assign value. The double equals to is the comparison operator, which compares only values. But the triple equals to is a strict equal, which not just compare value but also the data types. Yes, data types also it will compare. That's a difference. Are you clear? Interview question, difference between equal to, double equal to, and triple equal to in JavaScript. Are you all clear? So that's why we're using triple equal to. We're not just comparing the value, we're comparing the data type also. If it is a string Anubhav, please consider this as okay. If this is demo at hashtag 123, please compare this. Let's come back, test this one. Login button, we will have it on the screen. Gonna come back, reload. Watch out, we got a login button. Gonna enter username Anubhav. Gonna enter my password, click on login. I enter the correct username password. I log in. Voila! Login is success. Are you guys clear how JavaScript can validate the data? Is this clear to everybody? How JavaScript can validate the data? I enter a wrong password. Nothing happens. Nothing happens when I click. Nothing happens when I click. Yes. Let's add a validation in the else condition. Now we can write an else. Inside the else we can say alert user or password invalid. Please try again. I'm gonna save, come back, login. You see user password invalid. Please try again. Okay, so we should use always triple equal to. That's a good practice. Can we debug this? Yes, why not? Let's debug. Press F12, come to the network, come to the sources tab, go to your JS demo, reuse file, and here you can debug this. Let me show you. Where is my login button code? It's here, login button code. We can debug step by step. Yeah, I put up a multiple breakpoint also, and I can now click on login button. Let me enter a value. I will enter a wrong password and I log in, and you see it's hitting my breakpoint. Awesome. Awesome. And I can do F10 for one line. Let's see the value of user object. It's this one, user object. You've got user object. Yeah. Now press F10. You got password object. You see, you got password object. Now we press F10. It's gonna get my O user value. You can also take this value on object, copy that, go to console. You can test it here. So this is your user object. In this user object, if you do dot value, this gives you the value. Yeah, you can also change the value at runtime. You can say equals to let's say Arohi, and you see I can runtime change the value while I'm debugging. It also changes on the screen. See, it changed on the screen to Arohi. So this is all is possible during debugging. When it comes to JavaScript, it all runs on browser. It's a client-side JavaScript. You can test, debug, you can change values, play around with it. You can complete code you can execute on the browser. JavaScript is a client-side one. Press F10, it fails. Both value, which is Arohi, and password, which is demo hash 123, doesn't match. It goes to my else condition, which is an alert. It throws an alert, and now I come to end of my function. F10 is to go step by step debugging. F8 to continue debugging till the next breakpoint. Okay, now this is a soft debugger, you have to put it, but we also have a hard debugger. You can come and simply put a debugger. So I don't know whether my program control will come to this piece or this line or not. I just put a hard debugger. This is like breakpoint statement in ABAP. So we put a hard debugger here. So whenever you click on the button, if your console is open, remember this will only trigger when F12 is open. Otherwise it won't trigger. Okay, so I want to know whether my code is coming to this else part ever or not. Ever or not, I want to know that. I put a hard debugger. I don't have to now search those billions of lines of code to set up a debugger at right place. It is automatically going to stop if my control will come to this. Watch out, I'm going to press reload, F5, F12, and now we don't have to even set up a breakpoint. You can just enter a value. I click on login and you see it is stopped in my debugger. It's paused in the debugger. You can see here it's showing paused in the debugger. Yeah, it's paused in the debugger. So we can go back and check now the debugger and it would have hit your hard breakpoint. You see the moment this statement encounters, system will stop the control immediately, and now you can observe that it has come to your else part. That's why it stopped here. Clear hard debugger, everybody? How to do debugging, hard debugging? Clear? Now, could you please say again single step? Single step is F10. F10 means execute line by line. Single step. F8 is to continue to the next breakpoint. Okay. F8 is continue to the next breakpoint. So if you press F8, it will continue the programming execution to the next breakpoint. If you press F10, it's a single line you want to debug actually. Okay. Single line if you want to debug, you go with it. Okay. So maybe I just show you. It's hanged again. Browser is hanged. Okay. Now we have got it. So let's press F12. Watch out, I'm gonna put up a login and it hits my breakpoint. So suppose now I hit my breakpoint, I see everything. I just wanted to continue as it is. Nothing I want to do here. I can F8. You see message comes and goes away and now I'm out of debugger. Again I hit. Now I want to see line by line execution. I can press F10, it goes to next line. I can press F10, it triggers the line. And you see the control is now on 21st line actually. So you see it's highlighting the line where the control is F8 to continue. Clear? That's how you can do things. I'm just gonna add the right username password and I'll log in. It will not hit any debugger because I don't have any debugger in the if part here. No debugging. It will simply show and change the screen to login success, because there was no debugger inside the if part, so it did not continue. All these things you need to try and then you will get consolidate. So don't think that you just come and watch the movie every day morning and then you go back and sleep. It is not going to help this training. Okay, it is not going to help. So how are you we comparing this with ABAP? Let me just show you comparison with ABAP. So your F8 is here, F8 only to continue. Your F6 in ABAP which you have, your F5 is also F8 here. Your F6 which you do is F10. Your F7 in ABAP is your F11 here. That's a quick comparison between ABAP and JavaScript. Okay. Okay. All right. Now next, F7 is F11. Yeah. Now F5 in ABAP. Okay. F5 we don't have anything, right? F8 we have, F7 we have, F6 we have. Correct. F5 is F10. No, F5 is not F10. In Java, in ABAP you do F6 for single statement execution. Similarly, you can do it F10 here. For going inside a statement, you do F7. Sorry, you do F. What do you do to go inside the step? Inside the step, what do you do? F5, right? F5, yeah. Sorry. So that is F11 here. Sorry. So F5 is F11, F6 is F10, and F8 is F8 here. Okay, in app also you just continue execution, that's F8. Okay, now Do we have to press any key, board key for the debug? No. If you have a hard debugger and if your F12 is open, it's gonna hit the debugger if the program control reaches to that line. If the program control doesn't even reach to that line, it's not gonna hit your debugger. Okay, not gonna hit the debugger. Do we have user management in web ID? Is it possible to place breakpoint for user ID? No, we don't have that possibility like we have in ABAP for now. Of course, in future, maybe if it may come, then you can put it. But you can put other conditional breakpoints other than user breakpoints. You can write condition and put hard debugger inside. Do we have a button on screen as we have an ABAP? No, we don't have, but yeah, we do have buttons. Let me also show you. So just F12, just put here something, login, and now you will see we will also have buttons to debug. Actually, they are, I think, on the right side. You see here, F11, yeah, you see F9, deactivate all breakpoints, and F8 to continue execution to the next breakpoint. So you see these are the options and buttons we have. Try these out, they are helpful. Okay, so just one line, you see it executed one line. Yeah, so it's doing that. So these buttons are there, you can try them out. That's about the debugging. So you saw JavaScript can change CSS at runtime. It can also go ahead, and we saw that JavaScript can also do the validation of the data. So that's all for today's class. Time for an exercise for all of you. Let's see how many of you can complete that exercise. Exercise. Design a screen with blocks as we have. Add a button called hide show button, and on click of the button, the blocks should disappear. Again, if you click, it should show the blocks again. So basically it should work like a toggle. You hide and hide the blocks with the click of a button. That's exactly exercise for today's class. I'm done. Ask with your questions. Please go ahead one by one your questions if you have any questions. No questions? All right. You would like to probably give a try today and then come back with the questions in the next class. With that, thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Recording then? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so far we were looking, I mean, you were showing only the read option. So we also have the option to update or insert the records, or is it only the read
Read what?
records? Whatever, I mean, we were reading, I mean, recording whatever you have shown us so far. It
Mm-hmm.
was either whatever the input we are giving, that information it's reading, and it function based on that, right?
We can update also same way if you are playing with a JSON object. I showed you in the last class how can you play around with JSON, right? Can change the value pretty easily.
We also have the option to update the database.
Right now there is
Not
no
gonna.
database here. In this whole thing, there is no database at all till now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to understand, like, we can still update the database
Yes, we will
within
learn
this
this
code,
in
right?
our chapter number 32, where we will learn how to play around with the data of SAP ECC system or ERP system or S/4HANA system. So that time we will have scenarios for read, write, update, and delete in a database table which is existing in ECC system.
Got it. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. How can we use constructor is property of etc methods of an array? You can check W3C schools, and if you find it difficult, do let me know. Now there are a lot of functions which you will go ahead and find then in W3C. Let me show you some quick example for string functions. So for example, I create a string str equals to Anubhav Oberoi. Yeah, sorry. So I have a string with a name value called Anubhav Oberoi. I can split this by space. So I can do split by space, and this produces an array. It is separated it into two parts, Anubhav and Oberoi, in an array. I can have another string, and I can maybe take this, let's say part 1 equals to my str dot split based on this space, and take the first part, which is 0th item, in my part 1, and in my part 2 take the second part. Yeah, so I've created two variable, part 1 and part 2. I'll show you p1 and p2. Now you see Anubhav and Oberoi is separated. I can concatenate that back again, p1 dot concat with the p2 space plus p2. So I'm concatenating, and you see I get back Anubhav Oberoi. So these kind of operations you can play around with. You can check string functions, number functions, conversion functions, date functions. You can get date. So I can say var d equals to new date. Date is also an object in JavaScript. You see, gets you the current date. Yeah, so that's how you can play around with date. So you can d dot add days. Okay, so d dot add, or we have a lot of functions you see in this object. So I can see, I can say get date. It gets you with the date. Date is 11th today. Get year. You can see I get the year. Yeah, we can say that get month. You can play around with
Yeah,
month. Yes, so a lot of these things are
yeah,
there. You can do that.
yeah, Anubhav, I have a doubt. I'm Shilpa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in theory, one input button is there. So that's related to a date field. When I take the F4 help, directly it is displaying. When I select, for example, today's the date is 11th. When I select this 11th date, it is coming JUN 11. But I want this to be displayed as 11/06/2020. Whether that will be a possible for this?
Yes, it's possible. It's possible. There is a property in date control for Fiori called value format property. If you explore SDK, you will find that, and that you can change it to dd dot or dd hyphen mm hyphen yyyy, and it'll show the date accordingly. That's possible.
Value format. Is it?
Yes, value
Value
format.
format.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
I
Thank you.
exactly don't remember, but there is a property you can check it. It's called, I think, value format only. You can check that.
Value format.
Yes.
Okay. Directly by giving
Yes.
that value format means that property to that specific input field, then automatically when I select that one, automatically it will be changed to the date
Yes,
field.
exactly. Let
MMDD.
me show you. Let me show you. So this is one application which my students have built. You will be surprised to
Okay.
know, guys, that Anubhav training works on Fiori. Yes, Anubhav training entirely works on Fiori. Behind the scene, whenever you guys subscribing for a course, we are using this screen to actually create your entry. So here we just check customer ID as student ID. We pick up a student ID, and then we pick up the batch ID, which batch the student have taken the course from us, and what is the mode of payment by student, what is the fee student have paid, which account is paid. So all these details are captured in this software, and it's a native cloud solution. And Anubhav training works on Fiori. I'm not just teaching you Fiori, we have adapted, we are eating our own dog food. So we have adapted Fiori, and you see the date format here is dd.mm.yyyy. This is also date control. So we use that value property, value range format to do that. And this was actually built by my student. I went to an IT company in Bangalore, and they told me that this kind of software, if you want for student management, they will charge me 6 lakh rupees plus at 1 lakh rupees per year per annum annual maintenance charges. And that too, they develop it only for the fixed scope. If I need some changes to be done in that software, money keeps increasing. I set up a team with my students, Fiori students, and we built it in house at a cost of 0 rupees. And this is working on internet. I give this IP address to everybody. Please open this, click on it. You will see it on your screen, no matter where you are, in which country you are. And this is built at zero cost. And today, to operate this on the cloud, what is the cost? It's $5 for 1 month. Yes, $5 for 1 month is the cost to maintain and run this application alive in the cloud, to maintain all the record. Of course, it's a demo which we deployed on the cloud to showcase you guys. The actual application is not deployed on the cloud due to security reasons, but this is just a demo. You can see it here. This kind of capability you will be able to develop at the end of this course. You can build complete native cloud solution. If you have a startup idea in your mind, you can fly that startup idea with Fiori and build your own product of your own and sell it as an open product in the market. We are using backend as Node.js, which is also an open source. We are using database as a MongoDB, which is available in the cloud as a cloud store database. They're giving half GB data free in the cloud. This is a pure cloud solution. Front end is Fiori. Runs beautifully anywhere, anytime, on any device. While I'm on an airport, if you guys buy a subscription of a course, I get notification on my cell phone that somebody just bought a Fury's Fury Advanced subscription, and now I can go ahead and approve that. So here I have a status called approval status. My team member will create a record. They will make an entry for whenever student buy a course, and this goes for an approval. We have a complete approval workflow here. Just a demo actually. Payment date can't be in future. Okay, let me just put this, save this entry. I'm not sure. This is just a demo right now. That's why it's showing like this. I think it should work also. And just, yeah, you see, subscription is created for the training. And now here I have a send mail button. On click of this button, an automatic email will go to this email ID from our email account. Yes, just click on this, an email will get triggered from our system. You must have received an email from us that thank you for subscribing Anubhav trainings. This is your blog. This is the course. Do you think we are writing that email by manually? No way. No way. How will we manage? We get like thousands of inquiry every month from 93 plus countries. 93 plus countries I do get thousands of people inquiring every single month. When we start a batch, we get bombarded with more than 800 to 900 emails in a single day. क्योंकि सबको Fiori सीखना है, सबको ABAP on HANA सीखना है. Everybody wants to learn Fiori and ABAP on HANA these days because ABAPers is not getting enough opportunity. Everybody comes to us. So how do we manage such a high load? Without a solution like this, can't manage it. Your entire server payment, server subscription, whenever you're buying server from us, everything is managed by this software. All your subscription data, which student taken course at what date, when they paid, when they got, when was the payment due date, is there a payment pending, when is the batch end date, when is the subscription end date, when the student's 8 month is getting completed, giving the student access. You can see here we can clear dues, we can set most recent, we can send email again, we can give you access for the course. All these things is centrally managed by this command center, and we get ultimately this beautiful analytics also. Which student is buying which course according to that, which batch has how many students, which course is selling the most, which is the student per course, what is the trend per month, how many students are coming and finalizing, what is the trend of inquiries. All of this you can build it by end of this course yourself. So we are using this, and we have integration with our website, email server, message server, WhatsApp. Everything is integrated with this solution. It's a native cloud solution. Yes, we have WhatsApp supports. Server support timings is morning 9:30 to 6:30 in the evening. So all of this is managed. Just giving you, sensitizing you guys what is possible after learning. What is possible
Anubhav,
after.
hello,
Yes, please.
hello. Yeah, Shilpa here. I have a query. In theory, we have an option. For example, you have means developed one app, right? In that app, is there any flexibility? For example, in a batch, you are having for whole students, for all batches, you're having 30 students. You want to segregate that students on course wise. So dynamically, you can, by selecting the filter option, dynamically, you can see the students by changing the value
Yes,
dynamically.
yes, possible.
Even from the CDS also means, for
Yes,
example, if from CDS, because you are not going to do from the Fiori end, only from the CDS OData means OData wise, dynamically we can change the data from the Fiori point. Only from the
no,
CDS you can do it,
CDS
from
you
the
can,
Fiori point.
CDS cannot be
Hmm?
used to edit the data. See, with CDS, you have
Hmm.
to use BOPF to edit the data if you want to use that functionality. But in
Which
a normal
functionality?
normal OData, you can do that. But that's a out of topic actually for today's discussion. Let's not get
Okay.
into that. Otherwise, your
Okay.
fellow students will get confused. What are you talking about? It's too high level for them for now. Let's not do that here. When I'll teach you OData service, I'll show you the read write scenarios. All the types of scenarios I'll show you. So please allow me to reach to
Okay.
OData chapter. There we'll see. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks guys. See you and goodbye.